Hello people, Scotty Animation here. This is a TRS-80 Model 3. Uh, I picked this up for a pretty good price, and it works for the most part. Uh, the Q key, you gotta really kind of wiggle it to get it to work, but all the other keys work just fine for the most part. It still needs to be cleaned to work better. And the picture, uh, I'll get a better shot of this later, but the picture on the tube was kind of slanted, kind of cockeyed to one side. So I took it apart, and once again I'll show this all together later. But I took it apart and twisted the magnetic part here on the tube to straighten out the picture, and then hot glued it to where hopefully that won't move again. And the drives are kind of, for the most part, they work. I'd say it's probably about a 95% of the time they operate just fine. I do need to probably, you know, clean them, oil them, and clean the heads on them. Somebody has worked on this computer before because it didn't have any of the screws holding the case on. They were all gone, all 11. I thought that was kind of strange that they didn't replace them. But um, but yeah, so I'm going to cut to a next clip showing this thing in operation. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to boot this up. I think the procedure is you got to leave the discs out and then press the reset button. Put the disc in, close the door, the reset button. Yeah, okay, we got a picture. Okay, so, well, of course it's kind of at a diagonal position right now because the monitor is on the side, but it was really tilted really bad to one side, and I think I've got it pretty well straightened out now. And I'm going to attempt to make a backup of the boot disk. Because there's nothing on drive 1. The R key, there it goes. It doesn't like that. Try it again. drive 0. No, it's having a hard time reading drive 0, that's the problem. That doesn't sound very good either. That sounds better. Okay. Yeah, unreliable media. Now I'm going to try to get a directory of the top drive. I don't like it. Oh, there it goes. Maybe. Now see, that sounds bad. Okay. Alright, so it tried to get the directory off drive 1, but so here's the point. The point is that it's intermittent, and it's intermittent because of they're using very old mechanical drives, and don't take anything I say to be, you know, totally correct, because I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. But so you're dealing with mechanical drives, you're dealing with very old magnetic media, and it's, you know, it's inconsistent, it's hit or miss. And with that, I'm going to go to the next clip. Alright, I wrote a basic program so I could fill the screen with text and characters so I could make sure that the CRT was adjusted correctly, and it looks like it's okay. Break that. That's good. So now I'm going to discuss what I'm going to do with this machine. So this is a beautiful computer. I mean, the design is classic 80s, well, late 70s, early 80s, you know, that type of you know, computer terminal type look. That's what it reminds me of. So I love the way it looks, but I'm talking about really old hardware. So you know, the power supply is going to have to be, there's at least 3 capacitors in there that will probably have to be changed. It looks like somebody did work on this in 1992. I assume that they replaced the CRT tube because I think the Model 3 only came out with a black and white monochrome tube in it. So I think that was replaced. I could be wrong, just from what I've read about them. And also, I think the power supply is actually a Model 4 power supply. I don't know if it came from the factory like that or if that was put in later. I don't know. So anyway, there's several points of uh, possible failure that could happen with this machine. Of course, you got the mechanical disk drives. You got the old media, the 5¼ inch floppies that are unreliable, and so I've seen uh, other people on YouTube talk about this dilemma with this machine about uh, what do you do with it? You want to keep it in its original state as much as possible because that's the whole point, right? But it's unreliable. I mean, you can make it reliable to a point, but then you're going to have to start changing a lot of things on it. And one guy on YouTube, Artifact Electronics, he was toying with the idea of putting a 3.5-inch disk drive in it, and he got it working, and also basically an SD card solution. But like he was saying, how do you put that in there without really just ruining the overall appearance of the machine? And that's what gives it its appeal, right? Well, for me anyway. So I'm thinking that I'm just going to remove the power supply, the disk drives, the main CPU board, just taking all of it out, and just keeping the original keyboard and the CRT and the circuitry for the CRT, and creating a power supply to supply the 12 volts DC that the CRT needs and the circuitry that the CRT uses, and putting a Raspberry Pi in it. I will have to do maintenance on the keyboard. Also, we'll need to put an Arduino to communicate between the keyboard, to turn it into a USB device to communicate with the Raspberry Pi. So keep the power switch, which will still be the main power switch, and the original AC cord, of course, and somehow interface the Raspberry Pi, I guess using composite video, and feed it into the CRT circuitry. That I'm unsure of, because I think you've got to supply also a vertical sync and a horizontal sync. So I have to research that, but I think that may be the best route to go, because you're eliminating the old power supply, okay, and you're eliminating the old circuitry and whatnot that's on the main circuit board. You're eliminating mechanical drives, and you're also eliminating the media, the floppy disks that they go bad. That's just the way it is. So probably create some plastic mounting plates, try to find something with the same texture as the face plates on the drives. I want to keep I still want to keep the original internals intact, because just in case, so if I ever got rid of this, I could also present the original internals you know, so somebody could actually uh, restore it, because I don't want to alter the case, or well, except you know, probably hot glue, you know, plastic face plates. Uh, you know, probably put some lights or something in there with some like USB ports or something. I don't know about that yet, but uh, basically bring it almost up to modern standards using, you know, modern components, but you'll still have the old CRT in it and the original keyboard. That's the plan. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that plan. Because I want to be able to use it, you know, and use it consistently, not have to keep repairing it, you know. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Alright, Scott Animation. I'll talk to you later. Okay, so all the internal components of the TRS-80 Model 3 came out pretty easy. You got 2 disk drives, power supply, and the main CPU board, computer board back there. Yeah, kind of a neat design, modular design. There's the internal drive bay components sitting right there. So yeah, pretty happy with the way it just came out of there. Alright, next clip. Alright, so after taking all those components out, we're left with this keyboard, which thankfully has easy to use connector on it. I can connect an Arduino up to the keyboard and write a keyboard controller to turn that into a USB keyboard, and you got the connector. It goes onto the video circuitry for the monitor. It's still in the upper part of the case there. And with that, got, alright, that's to the cassette port. I left that in there. I may use that for something. I don't know. I have to think about it. Where is it? Oh, right here it is. This is the, I believe this is video, vertical sync, horizontal sync, and then you got a ground up there that goes to the circuit board for the CRT, and then this, I'm pretty sure, is the power, the 12 volts DC, 12 volts in ground. It goes to the monitor. Unlikely I'll use the contrast and brightness knobs, potentiometers, whatever. You know, it's possible. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to use that or not. Maybe. I don't know. I am not an electronics expert. I know very little. So that's helpful. And of course, going to use the original power cord and see how it goes. Stick a Raspberry Pi in there, an Arduino. I think the first thing I want to do is to tackle the video. I think that's going to be the hardest thing to do, is trying to get the video to work on this thing. Trying to figure out how to supply vertical and horizontal sync to that. I had the thought that I could use, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking I might be able to use the HDMI output on the Raspberry Pi, convert that to RGB, and then I could possibly get I don't remember, because I messed with this. I have tinkered with this stuff previously years ago, but it's been a long time, and I only did it like once or twice. But if I'm not mistaken, RGB has horizontal sync and vertical sync, and then of course you got the RGB outputs. So I could just take one of those and use it as video. Don't know. Just have to check it and see. Next clip. Alright, so this is what I got so far. Got the Raspberry Pi hooked up, running, I think it's SDL TRS, and I have to check that. And got an HDMI to VGA converter running through a cable. I got the vertical and sync hooked up. I got RGB to video in to the circuit board of the tube. This is what it shows. It's like the horizontal sync is out. The brightness and the contrast, it does work, so that's good. Just got to figure out how to get the horizontal sync where it will work better, because that is not the way it should be. Next clip. Alright, so this is looking better, but so I've got the horizontal sync correct by changing basically the resolution that the Raspberry Pi is putting out. So I set it to 240. It was set at like 480 DPI. Is that right? I think so. Then I set it for 240, which fixed the horizontal sync, and that's why it's like putting the image side by side, is because that was too much. So, but I still have a problem, is that the text is basically unreadable. It's like pieces of the text are missing. So it's got something to do, that may have something to do with the HDMI to RGB converter adapter that I'm using. Possibly, I'm not sure. So I need to run a few more tests and see if I can't swap out something between that and maybe improve the signal. Next clip. And what about that? Got it, finally. So that took some figuring out to do. So, but basically got a Raspberry Pi to display on a old TRS-80 Model 3 green screen monitor. Ain't that cool? Zoom in. Oh. focus. Oh, is that in focus? Well, I don't know if you can see that, but it's working. And now I'm going to show how I was able to do that on the on this next clip. Okay, so I'm going to try to go through here and explain the hardware side of it, because there is a hardware and a software side to this solution. Okay, so there is the Raspberry Pi, and I got HDMI out going to a HDMI to VGA converter, little converter box. That RCA video composite's not hooked up anything. So I got it going to an old compact CRT VGA cable that I'd years ago, the tube went out on it, so I got rid of the tube, but I kept the insides of it and the case for the compact monitor, and I'm glad I did, because this cable's come in handy in this situation. So I've got, let me see. Okay, so this cable, what it does, it's got a little connector that's got like 8 or 9 pins on it, maybe 8, and it's also got another little side cable coming off here that's got 4 wires, basically RGB and ground. And so I've got there's the connector that goes to the let me get the focus here. That's better. Alright, so that connector is going to the TRS-80 Model 3 in there, and it needs video, horizontal sync, and vertical sync. So I've got the video for the TRS-80 Model 3. I've got it hooked up to RGB and what I thought was vertical sync come from the RGB cable, or VGA cable, basically. So, but I'm also using, it's the yellow wire. That's is that right? Yeah. Okay. The yellow wire from that connector, that's supposed to be vertical sync, and I've got it going to the vertical sync to the Model 3, but also got it hooked up to the video cable, hooked up to, which is also hooked up to RGB right in here. I don't think you can see that. Hang on. Well, yeah, you could see it. See? Okay, so that was the trick, because when I just had RGB hooked up, there was like pieces of the characters missing, and so it's like, okay, what am I going to do here? So I just started experimenting and hooked it up to the vertical sync, and it looks good. So for the horizontal sync, it's right next to the vertical sync. I got a resistor there. I don't know what value it is. I just grabbed one when I was first messing with this, and so I got the horizontal sync going from the VGA cable to the Model 3. I mean, that's the hardware side of it, basically. I did have to adjust some of the Oh, that's totally out of focus, dude. I had to adjust some of the, the horizontal and the vertical, on the Model 3's board, but other than that, it wasn't too, well, it took me a while to figure out, but it wasn't too bad. So I'm going to go on to the next clip here. Alright, so there's TRS-80 Model 3 and the case. I'm going to reboot it to make sure that it can survive. Rebooting. Raspberry Pi is booting up, hopefully. Yep, there it is. Did it survive? It survived. Okay. So, all the sync, the horizontal sync, vertical sync's working right. Video looks good. It's not quite as crisp as the original Model 3, but I think it's about as close as I'm going to be able to get to it. I might try to tweak it later on, but it looks pretty good. I'll get a close up here in a second. Of course, I don't have the keyboard working yet. And for a recap, okay, got a Raspberry Pi. I think it's the model. It's either the Model 2 or 3A. I don't remember. It's kind of I'm sorry, it's the Model 3. It's got 4 USB ports on it and whatnot. Alright, so got a Raspberry Pi Model 3. My mind's just been blank. I've been working on this too long. A Raspberry Pi Model 3 hooked up to the HDMI port to a HDMI to RGB, HDMI VGA converter. And then I've got a cable from the converter going over to the horizontal and vertical sync and video on the original CRT on the Model 3. I had to use a resistor on the horizontal sync, and I used VGA because it's got horizontal and vertical sync on it, so that's why. I've got a USB keyboard here for right now because I've still got to set up the Arduino and program keyboard matrix for this keyboard and convert that to USB so I can plug it into the Raspberry Pi. The directory here. I'll zoom in a minute. There's the SDL TRS emulator menu, so I can change drives, I can run games, etc. No changing floppies or anything like that. So zoom in on the text real quick. Try to anyway. Just the camera. Oh, out of focus. Yeah. And also the brightness and the contrast knobs on the Model 3 still work if I can get to them. Ain't that cool? That's the first knob. I don't remember what that is. And there's the second knob. I don't remember what that is. One of them's brightness, one of them's contrast. I'm not sure which is which. So let's see. But anyway, so that's cool. And the zoom back out. 3 to get the shot there. Okay, so that's really cool. So I just need to, do the keyboard thing, do the power switch. So I'm using the original Model 3 case, keyboard, brightness controls, power switch, and CRT. That's all original. I've replaced the Model 3 circuit board, CPU circuit board, and power supply and disk drives with a Raspberry Pi, basically. Well, for the power supply, I replaced it with a little 5-volt wall wart for the Raspberry Pi, and I can't really show it. It's up to the side, but to generate the 12 volts for the CRT, I'm just using just off-the-shelf power supply that you can adjust you can change the voltages on. I've got it set to 12 volts DC. So yeah, I mean this thing is working pretty cool. Let me see. I think that's a pretty good game. So see, don't have to mess with discs. All that stuff's in there. 5 1/4 inch discs, they're totally unreliable now. Even I want to thank Artifact Electronics, because he basically did in reality what I was thinking about. Okay, what about 3.5 inch disk drive? What about like a modern SD card solution? He went through all that. He showed it working. Yeah, you can get all this stuff working. But then he I don't want to. Well, in my opinion, his conclusion, about what do you do? Because you don't want to affect the appearance, the original appearance of the machine, but also the reality is, he even said that he had a box of brand new unopened 5 1/4 inch floppies, and most of them were bad. So what do you do? So the conclusion I came up with was, all right, you cut away, all the clatter and get straight to the point. What's the weakest, what's the weakest link in the system? Well, it's the disk drives, right? And then what's the second weakest link? It would be the computer itself. The main circuit board. It's going to be, it's a pretty weak link too. I mean, some people would argue the CRT, but I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be the computer, possibly. But so just took all those away. Took the circuit board away. Took the disk drives away. Replaced it with a Raspberry Pi, and it looks good, And so I mean, I'll probably just have create plastic face plates here. I wouldn't mind having some kind of red indicator lights, one of each, I don't know, maybe give the appearance of 2 hard drives right here, maybe, but the lights will light up, indicating the computer's on, I don't know, I hadn't thought about that yet. My next goal is to get this keyboard working. I also got to fix the Q key because you kind of had to push it down and wiggle it a little bit to get it to work. And some of the other keys were kind of, you kind of had to tap them pretty hard to get them to work. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I got the hardest part done. Hopefully, the video output to the CRT. So part 2 is going to be the keyboard, and also I'll cut to a clip of right now going to showing the software, what I did on the software side. Okay, I forgot about that. I'll cut that in there real quick. So in the config.txt file on the boot partition of the micro SD card, I've got the HDMI mode set to 23, and I'm going to show you what that means here in just a second. Hang on. And this is the second part of the puzzle. So mode 23 is 288. Is that DPI? I'm not sure what that's referring to exactly, but run it at 50 hertz, 4x3. Let me see. Resolution. Okay, so 288p. Go back on the screen. Almost. Yeah, okay. So that's how I was able to, previously earlier on in this video, you could see that I kind of had it working, but it was like showing double, and that's because I think I had it set to 480p, and so 288p is about roughly half the size, so that fits the resolution that the CRT can handle, basically. So alright, and here's was the last part of the puzzle on how to fix the video, how to get the video from the Raspberry Pi working correctly on the Model 3 CRT monitor. And that was to choose mode 23, which is 288 pixels vertical resolution at 50 hertz, and they got it working, because before I think I had it set up like 480p, and so it was doubling up the screen. You get like a duplicate screen side by side. So that fixed that, and so basically I've got to do better cable management inside the case, but I got plenty of room. Another benefit to this is there's really not a lot that the CRT, because it's lifting up the top part of the Model 3, you can easily break the tube off the CRT, and so now with nothing in here, it's really hard to do that. Well, or harder, because there's nothing on it for it to catch on. So that's a benefit. When I first started doing this, I did not really think about that it was going to be a hardware and a software solution. I was thinking, I thought it was mainly going to be a hardware solution as far as just getting the horizontal vertical sync from VGA, feeding that in, and the monitor would sync up to it. But no. The monitor, there's lots of adjustments on it, but they only go so far, and so I think it could probably display like 640 by 480. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff. All I know is to get it to work with the Raspberry Pi, I had to set it to the 288p. So You live and you learn, I guess. So I'm gonna start working on the keyboard. I love the brightness controls. That that works. I love that. Uh, when I first hooked that up, I was thinking, okay, this might work, and it does. So that's fantastic. I guess that would make sense, right? Because it's just going by the 12 volts, and it's using that, right? So, yeah, I've got to clean up the cable mess back here and work on the keyboard, and that's it. So next video, uh, for this subject will be about getting the keyboard to work, and once I get it working, then I will like fix the keys that are sticking. I don't want to, I know that most of the keys work, so I want to go ahead and start from that basis to to program the keyboard matrix for the Arduino. If I take the keyboard apart now and work it over, then if I can't get it to work with the Arduino, it's like, well, is it something because where I had it apart, so one step at a time. So I know the keyboard right now works, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it in its current state and to program the keyboard matrix for it. And I already said that. All right, so I'm just I love it that it's working. It's because there for a while it's like, I don't know if I can do this, but yeah, I did it, and it's fantastic. So this is Scotty Animation. I'll see you in the next video. Alright, so this is a Teensy 2.0 Arduino board microcontroller, and I'm soldering some header pins on it so I can use it to convert the TRS-80 Model 3 keyboard into a USB keyboard. And that's easier said than done because my soldering skills are terrible. I'm learning. I'll probably block the camera shot. That's way too much solder on there. Come on. Sometimes when I think I'm getting good at soldering, then I prove myself wrong. Every time. I think it needs a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, that one needs to be reflowed. Okay. A little bit more. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, my desk is messy. It's my work desk. What do you expect? Alright. Or do stuff on. Alright. So, I soldered another pin header in here because I'm going to need it, because the TRS-80 Model 3 keyboard has a 20 pin connector on it. So, my goal is I'm going to plug it in like that. And it's got mechanical switches, which is awesome for the keyboard. In case you never seen the back of it, it looks like that. Keep hitting the microphone, sorry about that. It's good to click the keyboard. Station that keyboard. Reset button. See the reset button? See it? Right there. Awesome. Anyway, so my plan is to, okay, so I got one side hooked up. Now I got 10 more pins over here. I need to do something with it. Well, what am I going to do? Well, I need 10, but I've only got 7 left because I used them. What did I use them on? I think I used them on the what did I use them on? Oh, I used them on connecting the CRT on the Model 3 to get it working with the Raspberry Pi. That took some figuring out. Took me a while. I'm not too good at thinking, so it took me extra long time. So what happens when you're not too good at thinking? It takes extra time. That's me. Let me see. So I think I want to. I'm gonna try to get these pins in order. I don't know if I can do that successfully or not. Oh, okay, there's one. There's 2. There's 3. Come on, get on there. You can do it. Alright. Oh, that one's trying to get on a different one. No, you gotta go there. Come on. You have a predestined plan. It's called fate, my friend. Your fate is to get on that pin. You gotta help decode this keyboard. It's just gotta be done. Alright. So now, see, what I'll do is, see, these are way too long, but this is all I got. Alright, for right now, this is all I got. So if I had many resources available to me, and if I thought about it, actually, I would have got shorter cables. But I didn't, so I won't, so I'll use these. So, and this stuff may change in the future if I can get it in there. No, well, there's 2. Alright, that's fine. There's 2 more. Oh, raising the wrong spot. Well, I mean, if I get them mixed up, I can always switch them in the code, the program code. That's not infeasible, impossible, inconceivable. No, it's possible. Alright, so I'm missing 3 cables. So, I may not even need them. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I probably will need them because I want to use every key available on this keyboard, and I want the reset button to reset the Raspberry Pi. All right, so that's what we got. Beautiful, huh? Okay, next clip. All right, so this looks a little bit wonky, but it works, and it took me a while to figure it out, but I'm going to show the hardware first before I explain the software part of it. Alright, so this is the Model 3 keyboard, and this is the teensy Arduino. I want to focus here. Focus. Okay. And I know this cable's super long. It's all the cable in I had that's got a female and male end connectors on it, so it's quick and easy to use. So that's what I did. Yeah, it's working. I'm using I only, in fact, I could have used just a regular Arduino that's half the size. I only need 16 pins for the entire key. Well, almost the entire keyboard. I don't have the reset key hooked up yet, but that's the only key on the keyboard I'm not using right now. So, but yeah, it's not too bad. And see, I had to bodge this wire together because I needed one more wire. So, but yeah, it took me a while to figure out how to translate that keyboard. It's not like a Commodore 64 or even the TI-994A keyboard. It alternates between the pins on the connector. So the connector is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so when I was first working with it, only like every other key worked, and it's like, what's going on? And oh, okay, that's what's going on. So instead of just sequentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it just goes up and down, in the connector. So I got it working. Fantastic. Next clip. Okay, now I'm going to install this keyboard, hopefully without any major problems. And got plenty of space. And I'm just gonna set it in here temporarily because I still have to take this machine apart. I'm gonna take the lid off again for, why do I take the lid off again? Basically, I just want to see the keyboard working with the computer. But oh, it seems like it'd be easier than that. Anyway, oh no, the little sticky tabs are coming up. I'll have to fix that. So probably need to wire tie that together. Actually, yeah, I don't want to. The only wire tie I got. It is, I guess. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, that's the only wire tie I got so far. Alright, get in there. It's driving me crazy. Ugh. I must maintain the loop. Loop must be maintained. Something like that. Now watch it not work. Oh, that'd be horrible. But not totally unexpected. Now I lost my clipper things. Where are they? There they are. I know, so professional. Okay, so I don't have the power switch going yet. I still need to get like a double plug-in to plug in the CRT, the Raspberry Pi, etc. That's really bugging me. I'm gonna have to fix that too. But that's about as permanent as I want to make it right now. Later on, I will like attach it somewhere, you know. But like I said, I've still got put some kind of face plates in here. And I don't know if I'm going to use USB ports or something. Something's going to be going there, and maybe an LED or two, just to show that the computer's on. But anyway, so there's the keyboard, and then voila, put the faceplate on. Alright, I'm put the screws in the keyboard here to get it down, and then I'll show it when I get it all back together. Next clip. Alright, so here it is. My TRS-80 Model 3 computer modernized, kinda. Using the, well, no, it is modernized. With a Raspberry Pi, you can kind of see it in there. Running SDL TRS emulator, and using a Teensy Plus 2.0 Arduino board to convert the original keyboard to a USB keyboard to plug into the Raspberry Pi. So we got the original monitor with the original, you know, brightness controls work on it, which is cool. Brightness and contrast, and original keyboard, original case. So basically just replaced, you know, the computer, the CPU board, and the disk drives, you know, so, which I think would probably be the weakest link in the system. So, you know, now the system is, you know, works as good as a modern computer, which is cool. I'm thinking about running a little SD extension cable out here to where I can swap the Raspberry Pi images, so I can like change this into like a Commodore 64 or what, I mean, you know, just for fun, right? Well, yeah, and you wouldn't want to do that, I guess, because of the green screen, but you know, what about like a Commodore PET? You know, you can emulate Commodore PET, something like that. That'd be cool, I think. I really like that Sea Dragon game, but I'm gonna look at a different one. Let's see. So, and actually, this is acting like a Model 1 right now, a Model 3, and I've got the menu. You go Shift 0, and it pulls up the menu. SDL TRS main menu, but you change it to Model 3. Got the brake key set. The brake key, I've got it set as the escape key. So now it should boot up as a Model 3. Okay. Screen's off just a little bit. I'm going to have to fix that. So, I don't know, pretty cool. Get back. Let's see. So, who's on drive 3? Is there a drive 3? There is a drive 3. Oh, and I got the speakers hooked up. So that's something. Ain't that cool? Love that. Anyway, all right. So that's something else I gotta do. I gotta put speakers in it. but I'm gonna have them like inside the case. I'm not gonna have them like out front. I want to try to find the like old 5 1/4 floppy disk, or not floppy disk, but hard drive face plates. I'm going to try to find a couple of those and mount those right there. Have, you know, each one have like an LED, and maybe mount like SD card and USB ports on it. I don't know. You know, I may not do that. I may just have the face plates there. I don't know. I ain't decided yet. But so I got to put speakers in it. I'm going to put a fan. I'm going to put at least probably 2 fans in it, just because, you know, I like the whirring noise of a fan inside the computer. So I'm going to put those in there, and I got to hook up the power switch. You know, right now it's not hooked up. So, and the reset switch, I got to hook that up. That's just a matter of, I think, running one more cable on the Arduino to the keyboard connector, and what I'll have it do, I don't know. I do not know, but that's the only key that's not hooked up right now. So it's far more reliable than it was when I got it. If you've seen the beginning of the video. So, man, it's so cool. It is so cool. You know, I like not having to mess around with a bunch of discs, and that's unreliable. It's just it's so cool, you know. Alright, I will post an update about what this computer, what I've done with it, what I will do with it, you know, and let you guys know if you're interested. So if you like this content, subscribe, like, comment. You know, did I go too far, you know, in restoring this computer? You know, let me know your opinion. And if you'd like to support this channel, I've got a Patreon page. It's linked up somewhere on my YouTube channel, or you can go to my website. There's a link there. I like it. It's all original, except it doesn't have the CPU and the disk drives in it. But other than that, everything original. Original CRT. I love that, dude. That is so awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright, I'm Scotty Animation, and I'll see you in the next video. For more content, you can visit www.scottyanimations.com. There's a lot more stuff on there.